You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township supervisor.
Fox 32 has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing thousands of dollars.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a small town mayor, once a beacon of hope, becomes embroiled in scandal after scandal? What if that mayor is not just incompetent, but actively working against the very people she was elected to serve? Welcome to the chaotic world of Tiffany Henyard, the embattled mayor of Dolton, Illinois, where rumors swirl about her ties to local gangs, a police force in disarray, and a town on the brink of collapse. Buckle up, because this story is filled with twists and turns that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about local politics.
Is there a motion to terminate Keith Freeman?
So, who is Tiffany Henyard, and how did she become the center of such controversy? For starters, Henyard is no stranger to trouble. Long before she took office, she had a brush with the law in 2016 when she was arrested for attempting to steal a car. Yes, you heard that right, a car theft. It's not exactly the kind of resume you'd expect from a public servant. But somehow, despite her past, she managed to charm her way into the mayor's office in 2021. Maybe the people of Dolton were ready for a change, or perhaps they just didn't know what they were getting themselves into. Either way, Henyard quickly showed her true colors, and it wasn't long before the rumors started flying.
One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here.
Now, let's get into the juicy details, the claims that Henyard is actually working with local gangs. It sounds like something straight out of a crime drama, but the evidence is hard to ignore. During her time as mayor, Henyard has been accused of dismantling the Dolton Police Department, not out of incompetence, but intentionally. Why, you ask? Some say it's to clear the way for local gangs to operate more freely. There are whispers that she's been working with these criminal elements to weaken the police force, making it easier for gangs to expand their operations within their operations without the pesky interference of law enforcement. It's a wild theory, but in Dolton, it seems like anything is possible.
Deep debt, and that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Let's dive deeper into this theory. According to various sources, Henyard has made several questionable decisions that have effectively crippled the police department. She's been accused of diverting funds meant for the police to her own pet projects, like lavish trips and personal luxuries, leaving the department severely underfunded and understaffed. It's no secret that Dolton's crime rates have skyrocketed under her watch, and many residents believe it's all part of her master plan to destabilize the town's law enforcement. After all, why else would a mayor undermine her own police force, if not to pave the way for something more sinister?
Hey guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor and people's supervisor.
And it doesn't stop there. Just last year, Henyard was accused of hiring two hitmen to shoot up the home of her political rival, Valeria Stubbs. Stubbs, a former Dolton Village trustee and a vocal critic of Henyard, has been a thorn in the mayor's side for quite some time. According to Stubbs, her home was sprayed with bullets in a drive-by shooting that she believes was orchestrated by none other than Henyard herself. Imagine waking up to find your home riddled with bullets, all because you dared to stand up to the mayor. It sounds like something out of a mob movie, but this is real life in Dolton.
Mr. Lacey is absolutely not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit your guilt first.
Stubbs hasn't been shy about pointing the finger directly at Henyard, telling reporters, absolutely, I believe she was behind it. And honestly, given everything else that's come out about Henyard, is it really that hard to believe? This is a woman who has allegedly used her position to manipulate and intimidate her enemies, so hiring a couple of goons to send a message doesn't seem too far-fetched. Plus, there's the chilling fact that the police department, which is supposedly filled with Henyard's allies, didn't even bother to investigate the shooting properly. They refused to provide Stubbs with a police report, leaving her and her neighbors in a state of constant fear. But let's talk about the police force for a moment. Under Henyard's reign, it has become a shadow of its former self. The former police chief, Robert Collins, has publicly criticized Henyard for her misuse of the police security detail, which took officers off the streets and cost taxer. Collins, who was eventually fired by Henyard, believes that her insistence on a large personal security detail was more about ego and control than actual safety. We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime, Collins lamented. Instead, we have several officers that are riding around protecting the mayor. And that's not all. It appears Henyard has been using these officers as her personal valets, sending them on errands and using them for non-police activities. She's been accused of turning the police into her private security force, diverting them from their real duties and leaving the town vulnerable to rising crime rates. Residents are understandably outraged, feeling that their safety has been compromised for the mayor's personal gain. The whole situation has gotten so out of hand that former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has been brought in to investigate Henyard's spending and mismanagement, a move that Henyard tried desperately to block.
Mayor Henyard is in a situation where she feels like she's under attack.
And let's not forget the most recent accusations of her being a dictator and a usurper. Henyard has been described as ruling with an iron fist, mocking employees, retaliating against those who oppose her, and even firing staff members without cause. Her former assistant, now turned whistleblower Carmen Carlisle, has accused Henyard of unethical and predatory behavior manipulating employees, vendors, and residents to increase her influence. Carlisle went on to say, for the past 2 years, Henyard has manipulated employees, vendors, and residents, using her position to increase her influence, all while projecting a false image of success, funded by the hardworking taxpayers of Thornton Township of Faherty. And that's not even the worst of it. Henyard has allegedly been using village funds like her personal piggy bank, racking up tens of thousands of dollars in charges for first-class flights, luxury hotels, and fine dining, all while her town struggles to make payroll.
So that's one of the reasons I vote no when we go through our board packets. It's like, some of this stuff, it's like you don't know exactly what it's for, and then when you ask a question, there's no answer.
But it gets even more bizarre. This so-called super mayor has a flair for the dramatic. There's a video of Henyard in the middle of a public feud, shoveling snow from her critic Valeria Stubbs' driveway with a big smile on her face, declaring, "This is what it looks like when you pull up on your haters." It's almost comical if it weren't so disturbing. Henyard seems to revel in her ability to provoke and intimidate, all while presenting herself as the ultimate authority. Her antics have led to her being dubbed America's worst mayor, and many residents are left wondering how things got so bad so quickly.
Who would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is, what is it?
But let's not lose sight of the bigger picture here, Henyard's alleged criminal connections. This is a woman who, by many accounts, has used her office to enrich herself and intimidate her enemies, all while allowing crime to flourish in her community. Her critics argue that she has essentially turned Dolton into her own personal fiefdom, using fear and manipulation to maintain her grip on power. And with the recent evidence linking her to street criminals, the speculation is only intensifying. Is she working with these criminal elements to destroy the police force and turn Dolton into a playground for gangs? It's a chilling thought, but one that many residents are starting to take seriously.
Sometimes we get invoices, but those invoices lead to more questions, and sometimes we don't get answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait, it's about just making sure the right thing is.
Fan reactions to Henyard's actions are as fiery as you'd expect. One viewer commented, "She's used to taking things that don't belong to her. How she was ever voted in with her past is beyond me." As recent as 2016, she was breaking into cars. It's just another day for her. Typical criminal, answer for everything, while pointing the finger at others. This comment perfectly encapsulates the frustration and disbelief many Dolton residents feel about Henyard's rise to power despite her checkered past. It's as if Henyard is playing by a different set of rules, one where she can do no wrong, no matter how outrageous her actions. Another viewer weighed in, saying, "I know this clinical word is tossed around a lot, but she fits it so well. Tiffany is a narcissist." This sentiment echoes a growing belief among Dolton residents that Henyard's behavior is less about serving the public and more about feeding her own ego. From her flamboyant public appearances to her relentless attacks on critics, Henyard seems more interested in maintaining her image and control than in addressing the serious issues facing her community. And let's not ignore the financial mismanagement. The town of Dolton is now millions of dollars in debt, thanks in part to Henyard's reckless spending habits. Under her leadership, the village's general fund has plummeted from a surplus of $5.6 million to a staggering deficit of $3.65 million. This is money that could have been used to improve public services, pay employees, or invest in community development. Instead, it's been squandered on personal luxuries, travel expenses, and a bloated police detail that serves more to protect Henyard than to serve the public. Residents are fed up, and rightfully so. They've been calling for Henyard's resignation for months, demanding accountability for her actions and a return to transparent, honest governance. But Henyard has proven to be a master of deflection, dismissing criticism as politically motivated attacks and refusing to engage with the concerns of her constituents. It's a classic move from the playbook of a politician who knows she's in too deep, but isn't willing to go down without a fight.
This administration is shameful. Y'all are a disgrace.
We're watching the fall of this administration.
So, what's next for Dolton and its embattled mayor? The FBI is closing in, and with more evidence coming to light about her alleged criminal activities, it's only a matter of time before Henyard faces the music. The residents of Dolton are watching closely, and many are hopeful that justice will finally be served. But one thing is clear, Tiffany Henyard has turned Dolton into a hotbed of controversy, and her story is far from over. As we wrap up, here's something to ponder. Do you think Tiffany Henyard will finally be held accountable for her actions? Or will she find a way to slither out of this mess once again? And what does her story say about the state of local politics in America today? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time.